Napoleon Bonaparte caused the deaths of somewhere between 3 and 6 million people. He also gave France, Belgium, and a dozen other countries the legal code they still use today, one of the most influential documents in the history of Western law. Terrible people are complicated. Here are 18 facts about the surprising good that came from some of history's worst figures. Napoleon gave the world one of its most influential legal codes, the Napoleonic Code, introduced in 1804, established equality before the law, abolished feudal privileges, and guaranteed property rights. It remains the foundation of civil law in France, Belgium, Louisiana, Quebec, and dozens of other countries. Genghis Khan created the world's first international postal system. The Mongol Empire established the YAM, a network of relay stations stretching across Asia, enabling rapid communication across thousands of kilometers. Genghis Khan also instituted religious freedom and meritocratic promotion throughout his empire. Genghis Khan's Pax Mongolica connected East and West after the brutal conquests. The Mongol peace allowed safe trade along the Silk Road for the first time in history. Goods, ideas, and diseases moved freely between Europe and China. Without it, the Renaissance may have looked very different. Al Capone opened one of America's first soup kitchens during the Great Depression. Al Capone funded a soup kitchen in Chicago that served thousands of free meals daily to unemployed workers. It was partly a public relations move, but it fed real people through genuine hardship. Vlad the Impaler kept Wallachia free from the Ottoman Empire. Vlad III's reputation for extreme cruelty was not incidental. It was a calculated terror campaign to deter Ottoman invasion. He successfully defended Wallachia multiple times, and is considered a national hero in Romania to this day. Henry VIII's break from Rome created space for religious pluralism. Henry VIII's establishment of the Church of England broke the Catholic Church's monopoly on Christian worship in England. Whatever his personal motivations, it opened space for Protestant denominations, and eventually greater religious diversity across Europe. Oliver Cromwell readmitted Jewish people to England. Jews had been officially expelled from England since 1290. Oliver Cromwell, despite his deeply exclusionary views on other matters, readmitted Jewish people in 1657, beginning the return of a Jewish community to England after nearly 4 centuries. Richard Nixon founded the Environmental Protection Agency. Nixon is remembered for Watergate, but his presidency also produced the EPA, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and OSHA. His environmental record is considered one of the strongest of any American president. Richard Nixon opened diplomatic relations with China. Nixon's 1972 visit to China ended over 2 decades of isolation and began a geopolitical realignment that shaped the modern world. It required a level of political boldness that few other leaders at the time could have managed. Francisco Franco modernized Spain's economy after decades of isolation and poverty following the Spanish Civil War. Franco's technocratic advisors drove Spain's economic miracle of the 1960s, one of the fastest growth rates in the world, which transformed Spain into a modern industrial state before his death. Mao Zedong dramatically increased literacy in China at the time of the Communist Revolution in 1949. Literacy in China was below 20%. By Mao's death in 1976, it had risen to around 66%. The campaign to educate the population was one of the largest literacy drives in history. Stalin's industrialization was the foundation for defeating Nazi Germany. Stalin's brutal forced industrialization of the 1930s, at enormous human cost, built the factories, steelworks, and weapons manufacturing capacity that allowed the Soviet Union to outproduce Germany after 1941. Without it, the outcome of the Second World War might have been different. Saddam Hussein expanded women's rights in Iraq in the 1970s and early 1980s. Saddam's government dramatically expanded access to education and employment for women, made university access available in fields previously closed to them, and was considered comparatively progressive by regional standards at the time. Nero's fire rebuilt Rome with better urban planning. The Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD was followed by a rebuilding program that widened streets, introduced fire-resistant stone building requirements, and gave Rome a more organized and navigable urban layout than it had before. British colonial rule built India's railway network. The British East India Company and colonial administration caused devastating harm across the Indian subcontinent. They also built the Indian Railway Network, one of the largest in the world, which remains the backbone of Indian transportation and commerce today. Leopold II developed Belgium's infrastructure. Leopold II personally owned the Congo Free State and oversaw one of the most brutal colonial regimes in history, with an estimated 10 million deaths. He used the profits to fund extensive public works in Belgium, parks, museums, and urban improvements still in use today. J. Edgar Hoover built modern forensic science. J. Edgar Hoover used the FBI to target civil rights leaders and blackmail politicians for decades. He also built the FBI's Scientific Crime Laboratory, one of the first and most influential forensic science facilities in the world, which transformed criminal investigation. The architects of the space race were former Nazis Werner von Braun, and several other former Nazi scientists were brought to the United States under Operation Paperclip. Their expertise was foundational to NASA and directly contributed to the Apollo program that put humans on the moon in 1969.